elimination match, right? So aka losers match.
Yeah. And I mean, this is really scary for Stats right now. I think Stats is one of the big favorites for it, but herO as well, both very strong players. We are going to be spawning into map 1 on Daybreak.
Oh, I wasn't sure if you're gonna do the player intro or not.
Sorry, I would have, but then I'm like, I don't know whose
You had
screen
like such
yours
a
on
good
until
ramp up, man. You had it. You know,
yeah.
keep going with it, Pig. I believe you. Just go with it. I got you.
There's like 6 different observers, so I'm going through everyone's camera to try and figure out which one's yours. And I'm like waiting for the stream to catch up. I'm like, which one is he on?
Homie, I got you. I will adapt. I am a good cameraman. We can do it through the
Well,
pause.
luckily, Stats says no. We got to wait for the pause. There needs to be a zoom in, man. So
You can zoom in while pause. You can move while pause. Hello, it's 2016. You can twist the camera and everything.
oh, you can still zoom. Okay. Well, spawning down here in the bottom left-hand side of the denied.
Okay,
Denied.
now here's what we'll do. Next
Oh,
game,
man.
it's fine because what happens is we both spawn on the same character. So I'm gonna get you to do that hype. You can ramp it up again. Hell, you can even reference to make sure people know like this is like the guy who played at BlizzCon. Whatever you want, I got you. You just do that intro, Pig. All right, you do you.
All right, I'll bring the hype, man. I'll bring the hype.
I am curious what happened though. If that was like the wrong map, or maybe there's some tech problems like on the actual PC. Hopefully nothing too crazy, of course.
Yeah, not sure what it was. I am gonna, of course. I just saw the screen grab of innovation during his series earlier against Stats. There was an amazing photo, which hopefully some of you guys have seen. I'm gonna link a tweet in chat that Gemini took of that because that's amazing. It needs to get shared. There's this like moment where innovation had this cheeky grin on his face right after he wrecked Stats in this their game on Overgrowth, and then right afterwards he just had the most bizarre expression on his face. It was fantastic.
You know, I was just gonna say really quick. Speaking of stats, a lot of people don't know this, but at BlizzCon, if you go back and you rewatch the reaction videos, this is really obvious. But when Beyond beat Stats, it had such like a bigger celebration moment than when he beat Dark and actually won BlizzCon. And a lot of that had to do with like Stats really is like the guy to beat. He's tough, he's difficult, and for TvP especially, like you mentioned like briefly before, like he's the guy with a lot more weight on him. Like this is herO, by the way. This is like ex CJ Entis herO, so this is not like some small fry or anything. But Stats is the guy who I think a lot of people were expecting to finish easily second place in this group, easily.
He's the Neeb of Korea, man. He's like the most consistent player who occasionally fans overlook or followers of the scene overlook because he doesn't win very many tournaments. But he won across finals. He gets top 4 in literally every tournament he enters in. He's so consistent. He beats so many players, and he really does only seem to lose that momentum once he gets to the top 4. So if herO were to knock him out here, it would be a huge upset for Stats. And you know, I don't think anyone expects that, especially because this is PvP and Stats. Honestly, I would have said before Kesper Cup, without a doubt, he was the best PvPer in the world. It wasn't until he did drop that series to Neeb where I think, well, maybe Neeb's a better PvPer, but Stats is definitely top 2 PvP in the world.
Well, Pig, lead us off with this sick intro, dude.
And spawning over here on the left-hand side of Daybreak, our red Protoss player, it is Stats.
And his opponent in the upper right, quickly reminding you all that this is the ex-CJ Entis player. He's blue, he's Protoss, it's herO. It's really unfortunate that there were, of course, 2 players named herO, but I was so heartbroken that we never got to do a Team Liquid Bunny herO versus CJ herO Bunny over there. Like, that's a match that I don't know why that never happened. That should have happened.
It's a real shame, actually, yeah, because he never really got a chance to go to any international events, CJ Bunny, or just Bunny, as he's called now.
Yeah, Korea Bunny, I think is what he's going by, or Core Bunny. But actually, speaking of herO, a little unfortunate incident recently with StarCraft got him a bit of blame. He was not the one who no-showed for Total Biscuit's StarCraft, but I guess a lot of people misunderstood and were kind of like, oh, I'm so disappointed in that herO. And they even had to make like a public post stating like, hey guys, no, please understand, like This hero, the one we're casting now, this guy was cool. He's legit. He didn't no show or anything. So just the unfortunate name similarity striking once again.
Put on your fitch porks, folks.
So PvP actually is one of these weird matchups that has fluctuated so much as far as like what meta builds have been, not just in the most recent patch, but of course since Legacy came out. You know, for the longest time, the goal was Disruptor Blink Stalker, and if you're doing anything else, you were probably doing it wrong. For a small period of time, we saw the Koreans trying to innovate with like Charge Lot Archon and try and beat the Disruptor timing, but that didn't work either. What we're seeing a lot of more recently, though, I don't know why this became a thing, upgrades seem to be so prevalent. You'll see a lot of these matchups where one player will be on like, you know, +2, the other will be on nothing. But hold the phones, because hero's going to shake this up and actually go with a Stargate opener.
All right, that's cool. Of course, Stargate opening still good in the matchup. Interestingly, though, 4 Adept into Stargate from herO. All right, this is not something we see very often in the new patch. A lot of players have kind of moved away from the Adepts as their openings, and a lot of people are opening 4 Stalkers. Stats here doing a very safe 2 Stalker expand with the Mothership Core. Whereas herO is going to look to be a lot more aggressive. So Stats very much taking up the defensive macro focus, and I have almost no doubt that it's going to be an Oracle coming out here for herO, and then just an expand behind that. So herO really looking for the chink in Stats armor, looking for Stats to make just a small mistake. And the moment that happens, herO is going to dive in there with his super mobile Adepts.
One of the reasons too, I think that this started falling off, as you bring up the Adepts, we don't see so much anymore, is they would get caught. The Stalkers would easily pick them off before they even touch the mineral lines. This is an instance though where if herO takes this fight, I don't think he might. He'll kite it down. He'll try and do what he can, but 4 Adepts are not easily killed. In fact, they're already transferring over towards the main, and lo and behold, there's a couple Stalkers waiting here, an Overcharge ready to go too. And these Adepts are gonna be kind of limited in damage.
He's actually using their mobility really well now. He knows that whilst 4 Stalkers do beat 4 Adepts, if he can isolate 2 Stalkers on their own, he can do really well. Nice split on the Adepts here, but...
though.
Oh, man. It was cute, but it didn't quite find the damage. It did bait out both Overcharges, though.
Yeah, and so as the Oracle comes in...
Yeah. That's the potential weakness, but look at Stats. He is so safe. He knows that herO is being a bit crazy right now. Ooh, the Oracle does come in, catches a couple of probes, gets a few, but Stats at the end of that. Oh, okay. The Adept's shade in as well. With no overcharge left over. He's actually finding some okay damage.
You know, he ends up killing 9 probes through this. It was so much like a shotgun blast of Protoss units thrown at this to make 9 probe deaths. But the thing is, that really just evens up the playing field. This didn't get herO ahead. It cost him a lot of his army. He's not exactly screwed or anything, but this was so much for what I feel was not that great of a payout.
Yeah, the thing is, he's actually gone up to 10 Adepts. He's already thrown away 6 Adepts for some probe damage. He's diving in with even more now. He's relying on this follow-up. He knows the overcharge energy is out. That is what this whole build is focused around. And, you know, he is probing up behind this greedily. He's getting okay damage done. The thing that makes me afraid here for herO is that these Stalkers are staying alive. These Adepts aren't. Once all this pressure dies down, Stats is going to have a much bigger standing army than herO, and he might be able to just walk across that map and kill him.
Well, the Oracles end up being the real heroes here. One does go down, the other one might. It's really low. No, it's going to barely escape, but 11 more probes die, bringing him down to 17. And as good as Stats is with his micro, and he's not losing any of these early game Stalkers, he's not going to be able to keep producing at same rate as herO if this persists. But the immediate counterattack
is going to catch the Oracle.
Should, but doesn't.
Wasn't watching there.
This is so important that he attacks now, though, because I think he knows that if he gives herO any breathing room, herO's going to have better production, more income, and everything should win out. But right now, herO doesn't have any of that. He's barely got an Immortal, barely got a Void Ray coming out. This is Stats' time to shine, and it's going to be his only time to shine.
herO's defense looks so ridiculous right now. He's got a Pylon and an Immortal, a Zealot and an Adept. This is not really, you know, the stuff that Legendary holds are made of. The Immortal Barrier already activated. The Void Ray is not quite out yet. And these Stalkers, they don't have Blink, but good micro. So far, herO keeps the Immortal alive.
He's been doing some pickup micro.
Void Ray. Nice overcharge on the Void Ray. It's going to take down a Stalker before it dies. The Immortal, though, is going to get focused down as well. And I think Stats here is just doing a little bit too much damage. He's got to kill more probes. The Oracle comes in, turns on its laser beam. Oh, look at that micro with that Warp Prism, though.
It's doing
Fantastic.
magic. The new Immortal comes out. This is actually kind of scary. A lot of these stalkers in one-shot range, of course, but the probes ran some really great interference. Oh, that Immortal needs to go down. One more shot. There we go.
Does end up falling just barely, and I think Stats has done it. Looks like herO's aggression. Oh my god, the micro continues. They're all on red hit points, but they're all finally starting to fall down.
But so actually, he at least brings the game back to a playable state. He brings this down to enough probes that now Stats can compete with him.
This is actually crazy how even this is. I thought he was going to just barely overwhelm, but that warping of Stalkers seems to have stabilized. Looks like now more Stalkers are coming across the map. Stats here is building probes 2 at a time. So is herO. They're both just warping in Stalkers right now. Both players are very aware that if one player is down a single unit, they might just get wrecked in the engagement. Oh, I love this from Stats. He's going to drop 4 Stalkers in the main, out-micro those Stalkers in there, and then these 2 Adepts are going to dive into the natural. Behind this, Stats is adding on Blink and a lot of probes. This is a great maneuver.
Not to mention that Warp Prism is going to add a lot of survivability to these stalkers.
Shades into the natural, dive on in. There we go. Probes being forced to evacuate, already 4 of them dying. Picks up the Stalkers, doesn't lose a single unit. The Shade goes into the main as well. Redrops the Stalkers at the same time. He's going to finish that Shade and focus down a whole lot more probes.
This is not at all like herO getting massive leads with his attacks, but it does put Stats ahead. Now, for Stats, back at home, he's also started Blink, which I think is massively important. herO can keep playing Stalker versus Stalker. Both of them are in similar enough economies that it's not going to be too big of a deal. But if one player's got Blink plus that Warp Prism, that guy's going to win that Stalker fight every single time. So Stats putting himself ahead with tag.
Situations, that's going to be very powerful. DT Shrine is on the way for herO. I think he knows he's in a little bit of an awkward position right now, and that will be his choice. There is a single observer out for Stats, but keep in mind Stats can't send it across the map for scouting, which means he won't know about the Dark Templar tech ahead of time. However, if he keeps the observer at home, it will mean that he's very well prepared to stop those Dark Templar once they hit his mineral lines.
I'm really wondering how these DTs will factor in, though, right? Like, on one hand, they come in, they get deflected right away. They just make them into Archons out of desperation. Will that hold up? Because Archons aren't going to take any bonus damage versus the Immortal. Like, the Immortal's not going to do much to it. The Stalkers aren't going to do much to it. Archons might not actually be a bad unit just to have in the composition at this point, especially when you're down Blink like this. herO has no way to know that he's going to be missing Blink versus his opponent, but I think he's going to be guessing something. Yeah, he probably just saw with the Phoenix now. That's going to be incredibly worrisome.
Observer is coming across the map with this push, which means DTs will not be able to be used defensively. There is just too many units for Stats right now. I don't know if herO can hold on against this. He's got his Warp Prism on the other side of the map, but the DTs aren't ready just yet. I think that tech's going to be coming in just a little bit too late for herO. Stats here with a very decisive attack, going to overwhelm those superior numbers. The Immortal anchoring this push very well. The Warp Prism as well, microing back those damaged units. And not a single unit has died yet. Finally, one Stalker dies for Stats. But herO's back was already broken by that point. GG, well played.
I think if you guys came into this not knowing why there was a lot of favoritism towards Stats, you should have a pretty good idea now. The control was great, but the knowledge for him to just go, to not get turtled up and play scared at home. I really want to stress, like, if Stats had hit any time later than that push with the Stalkers initially, there's no way he causes enough damage to even up the game. Not to mention, that almost looked like he was going to win in 2 of those different fights.
Yeah, it was a very exciting game there. I think it's interesting, right, how I feel like Stats there played a textbook early game at first. And then there was that moment when the overcharges ran out, and maybe Stats needed a few Adepts of his own. Maybe he was a little bit too Stalker heavy because he just couldn't blast down the Adepts quick enough once they were in his mineral line with his Stalkers. And then the Oracles combined with it. It was like the 3rd wave of damage from herO that did the critical, bit of damage that forced Stats to go counterattack. However, because he deflected the earlier waves so well, he had so many more units. herO had to throw away every single Adept to get that damage done. He was just too far behind on the army supply. So Great early holds from Stats. Even though he did end
Oh!
up taking damage, he was in a very good position after that.
Here with that probe right away. I really want to see what he's up to with this. Spawning here in the top right. He's down a game. It's the loser's match, and he's going for something a little bit desperate. It's going to be the blue Protoss herO.
And his opponent spawning up here in the top left-hand side, the red Protoss player. Up one game, it is Stats.
So I've actually seen a PvP more recently where they just straight up did 3/8, and it kind of worked. And what's funny about this map is up here in the top right was where a lot of the old proxies went. Oh, he's just going to gas steal. Oh, if he's doing this for a Stargate, this is amazing. Even if you take just one geyser, it's so hard to get enough anti-air to stop any sort of Stargate build just because of how important gas is to Protoss. You can't get the Mothership Core and Stalkers. You can't get the Mothership Core and Tech. You forgo the Mothership Core, then you don't have Overcharge. This was so ballsy out of herO. I hope this pays off because it's going to be super cool if it does.
Really hope this does something interesting. It's going to be always curious. How does the defender react to this? You know, what do you do with that excess of minerals? Do you chrono boost out a Zealot straight away? We do see the fast second pylon for Stats, so it looks like he will be chrono boosting out a Zealot. Yeah. Gets the second pylon so that he doesn't get supply blocked by that, of course. And herO knows this. You know, he gets to see everything that's going on, sees the cyber core timing and everything like that, and he knows he's going to have that little bit of tech advantage at the cost of being a bit behind in the minerals.
I like this cheeky sort of mineral wasting he's been doing. We haven't seen this since Heart of the Swarm, but, you know, grab the minerals and grab the gas and grab the minerals and grab the gas. Zealot, of course, going to help take away the assimilator so you can start getting that gas going ASAP. But as you guys noticed at the start, you know, herO was really trying to get both geysers. There was a quick reaction from Stats to throw down his assimilator. He knew he had to claim that or he would be really, really in trouble.
And we are getting to that point where the tech is going to be coming down very soon. herO Cybercore is finishing. Eyes are glued to his base right now. Wondering what's going to go down. He's still got full vision of Stats, and
he's also rallied the Mothership Core over, by the way. It's a pretty common tactic in PvP, right? You come over, you get a couple shots off, maybe even kill a probe and recall back home. But this is really ballsy for him to do because he knows that there's not going to be a lot, but there's going to be something here defending. Like, first off, the Zealot was already out. I don't know if he actually got back in with the probe to see production on the gateways, but whether it's Adepts or Stalkers, you know, Stalkers at home defend against the Mothership Core, Adepts go across the map, the Mothership Core needs to be at home overcharging. I don't know. He goes for a Robo, so I guess he wasn't satisfied with the gas steal doing as well as he was hoping it would, but he is going to be ahead in gas. It's a weird little niche in PvP because everything is so expensive. Oh, these are herO pylons!
He hit that probe there, just waited for the opportunity. Here comes the pylon rush, going to try and do a lot of damage to this mineral line. Those two Adepts shade in as well. They're actually fighting the Adepts of Stats right now. This is like a frontal engagement, and it looks like, oh, he overcharges the pylon just as it dies. Doesn't find the damage.
This is fail for herO. It's so unfortunate how bad this went for him. Because on top of this, he didn't get cancels on a lot of those pylons, so now he's just straight up in the hole, like an additional 300 minerals.
I mean, we talked about it at the start of the series. herO really is going to be the guy looking for the chink in Stats armor. Stats is such a solid, good PvP player, but herO is just not finding those holes in the armor, and I feel like Stats here is really respecting every single move that herO does. He pulled almost every single probe out of his base to make that defense happen. Loses just a single probe here. These Adepts are going to have to pull back for herO.
This game got a little bit desperate for herO for a couple of different reasons, but these Adepts really are not showing their worth. I mean, the resources lost is one thing, units lost is another depressing thing. There's actually a structures lost tab too, guys, so I mean, you're down 3 pylons and an assimilator. That's a whole expansion right there.
It is interesting, you know, this is the new herO that we've seen in this entire year, really. Ever since Legacy of the Void, herO's been the 1-base, 2-base, all-in guy. He doesn't really want to play the macro game. He wants to micro his way to the victory, and I think he's going to go for the ramp here. I think he's going to drop on that ramp, force field it, and then try and elevator his way to victory. He does have a unit advantage right now. That pylon is in the mineral line. Looks like, he
trapped the army. Okay, this is how you start making something happen. Stats doesn't have a lot of units still. A lot of this goes back to the fact that the way this opened, he didn't get to build a bunch of Stalkers. He didn't have that excess gas to get sentries out. Stats can't even engage on the ramp because of those force fields. More Stalkers are warping in right now. I'm not sure if the Nexus is the priority or the reward right now, but he's got to deal with the last Stalker and the Adept on the low ground if he really wants to take command of the situation.
herO here salvaging this really well. Stats a bit too paranoid about the Oracle heading into the main. Had his unit split up. Gets his sentry down too late. That force field not blocking the units at all. There is overcharge there to help hold the main base, but the ramp is forfeit. These pylons are going to go down here. herO using that Warp Prism to micro these units so well. Oh, Stats focuses down the Warp Prism with the overcharge and the Stalkers, but he is still way down on units. And now that the overcharge is out, herO is going to dive right in on top of him.
Here comes the Immortal
joins the action as well. This is it going to be all she wrote. herO actually does it.
I love that he did it after it failed so miserably too. Oh, people, because right before we got into the game, we saw people watching. Oh, this isn't the herO we're used to seeing. He's lost his skill, but no, man. Like whether it's cheese or whether it's cheekiness or whether it's just abusive aggression, he can make it work. I am sitting here like with question marks as to why that worked. I'm gonna be honest, guys. Like I'm not Grandmaster Pro. I can't tell you the precision reasons of why that worked because of how badly that looked at the start. But so much cool stuff happened right from the moment that probe left the base at the start of the game.
It's pretty rare at this level to see a player bring it back after that does fail so miserably. That's one of those very odd situations. Of course, we saw that Stats just didn't have the vision, didn't know what he was up against following that up, right? He had no idea he was still up against a one-base opponent. He had Stalkers in both his main and natural, no units out front his base. So a simple probe on the map or a Stalker or an Adept out front his base, giving him a few more seconds to react, would have changed that game completely. If he could have pulled those units down from the main and had them there rather than getting his entire frontal force trapped by the force fields, maybe Stats hangs on. But once herO got that edge and he had that Warp Prism to micro his units and kind of give them free blink, so to speak, it just ran out of control. So great micro there from herO. Is he going to bring out a cheeky build in game number 3? He's lost one with a cheeky build. He's won one. What does he do in the final game of the series? It is going to be here on Echo and spawning down in the bottom right-hand side. Our blue Protoss player, it is herO.
Getting smoother at those segues, man. I'm proud of you, Pig. Spawning at the top left. He's going to be the red Protoss. It's Stats. But the quick reminder needs to go to those who might just be tuning in. This is the losers match, the elimination series. Whoever loses this game is out of IEM, and that's it. It's all over.
Of course, Stats did lose 2-1 to Innovation, and herO did lose 1-2 to Lysira. So both have had close series so far. Unfortunately, not being able to close those out. Innovation did go on to 2-1 Lysira in the winners match. So Innovation is through to the round of 8, and we do have the winner of this game here. So the winner of Stats vs herO will be facing Lysira in that final decider match to see who takes the second place seed going through to the round of 8.
It speaks volumes to the quality of this tournament too. When these are only the first couple of groups. We still have groups C and D to get through today. But this is the losers match. Like these fantastic titans of Koreans playing against each other. Like wow.
It really is incredible to have an IEM in Korea. It's been a long time since we had one of these tournaments happen over there in Korea outside of GSL or Star League, one of the regular leagues. So cool to have this exciting weekend event going on. Interesting to see Stats here. Doesn't really want to scout too much. And I was saying, is herO going to do something a bit cheeky? Is he going to try and change it up and play a bit more macro-oriented? What do you think, Rifkin?
Well, Pig, I think it's pretty safe to say he's going to throw a proxy down, and it's most likely going to be that of a Stargate.
I would have to agree with you.
So I actually, just to comment on PvP really quick, because we know the direction this is going. This is such a volatile matchup. I really don't think it says that you're a good or bad player if you can't win a PvP. Like, regardless of how herO does it or Stats does it, whether it's through Mac. Oh. Whoa! Why put this here if you're going to do a Robo? Yo, I don't...
Immortal Warp Prism push. This is yeah, this is gonna be super classic all in, right?
This is cool. I love this version.
This is good because Stats isn't scouting. I'm sure Stats could technically hold this, but this is such an old school classic attack. It's gonna be very hard to make this work. Now Stats has been very on top of his Stalker scouting, but I don't know if he's gonna scout that far out.
He might. If he does, he might get on top of the pylon in time to stop this. That's where that probe. It's very important. It doesn't go down. He's running, but he's gonna get caught by the other stalker, even if you were able to get away. So, this could be bad. He almost might want to send another one out. No, he's gonna send his own stalkers out. Okay, but stats won't find it, so it doesn't matter. To comment on this a little bit further, guys, we've actually seen quite a few robo builds specifically, but those usually aren't kept off by like a whole nother ramp so far in the middle of the map. herO really didn't want this scene. He loses some of the edge because the position isn't as nice as it could be, but it is still closer than his main, so it hit a really fast timing.
Ooh, these Stalkers of Stats are getting in between the Stalkers of herO. herO, you've got to be careful with this. I think he's actually turned around to engage this a little bit too soon. He's going to take the trade, Stalker for Stalker, but Stats is ahead in the volleys. He is going to take the edge in this trade. So far, 3 Stalkers for 2. Stats taking a very nice edge there. But herO is going to get 2 more Stalkers out. He's still got that Immortal out, and that Immortal will be able to stop those Stalkers from getting home. It's actually going to go right in and start killing the pylons. He is not going to wait. Uh-oh, herO's going 1 single Immortal, 1 Warp Prism, 2 Sentries and a Stalker warping in as well, and he's going for it. He's going to catch these Stalkers in the map.
Yeah, unfortunately the Sentries are nowhere close enough to catch them with a net of force fields, but a bit of a distraction here. herO should still be able to win this fight. As the Immortal comes up, the big thing is those Sentries want to cut off reinforcements. It's so important that Stats got as much here on the low ground as possible. However, if herO goes to the main with this and force fields it off the other way, then Stats is equally screwed. It's a tough position. He's got to play some guesswork, and looks like he will be on the right side of that ramp.
Oh, this is very nicely done here by herO, just elevating his entire force. He's going to take that pylon down so quickly. Pylon does go down, but every single probe is pulled. The force field not all too effective here out of herO, but there's just not enough units for Stats. All of his probes are going down. The Immortal stands strong in the back line. herO here with such a well-calculated build. Nice force fields out of Stats there. He's going to peel off an Adept and a Stalker.
There was a small PvP change that doesn't often come into effect, but needs to be brought up now, and that's the barrier ability has a smaller cooldown by almost 10 whole seconds. So that Immortal, it barely gets away, but more importantly, it's going to have barrier up soon, so it might be able to fight a little bit longer. No, it gets picked off immediately.
The Warp Prism goes down as well. That is the end of that assault.
But this
These
still
Stalkers are going to get trapped as well.
Down almost 10 workers. Stats is not in a great recovery spot, but this is very reminiscent of game number 1. Like, if he goes for the counter now...
Yeah, there's no units out. That's the problem right here for herO. He just doesn't have any units on the map. So even though he's up 6 workers, he's down in Nexus, and he's just down vastly in terms of units. So this is going to be really tough. Nice shade in to try and pull the pressure away from him, but ultimately, with the Mothership core there, he's going to lose these 2 Adepts, and they probably won't be able to trade very well.
Well, with the pylons soon to be picked off, that's going to be the end of this. No reinforcement points, a whole gateway shut down too. I mean, Stats, I think, very much so wants to just go YOLO dive into the main of herO. But he knows that Warp Prism escaped. He knows there's something else coming his way. Mothership Core will buy you some time, but it's not going to stop all of this.
And this is all of this, though. Keep in mind, it is just 3 Adepts for now. There is nothing else in terms of army on the map. Just a couple Sentries at home, a 3rd gateway going down. herO has lost his Robo. He's lost that proxied gateway. And now he's going to lose some of these Adepts as well. herO is kind of floundering about. He's trying to reestablish a Nexus behind this. He's mining more money. If he can find some damage, then maybe this is all going to be worth it. But right now, these Adepts are being cleaned up really well by Stats. Stats is stabilizing. He's rebuilding those probes. And I think Stats is going to find himself back in a very good position in the next minute or 2.
I really thought herO would be dead to the counter. The fact that he's getting a Nexus down, 3 Sentries on the low ground, the 2 pilots are overcharged, like he's actually set for the defense.
Yeah, he's still up in workers as well. The big advantage, of course, is the Robo for Stats, and he's got an Observer already going across the map, which will give him scouting, which will give him the ability to make informed decisions in the follow-up. Meanwhile, herO only just restarting his Robo now. So that's the real damage that you take when your proxy doesn't work. But sneaks 2 Adepts into the main base. Cute maneuver here by herO, but quick overcharge by Stats. Ooh, nice focus fire, though. Manages to grab a couple of those probes on the gas. And shades one of the Adepts on out. So herO keeping up, a little bit of pressure, but at the same time, Stats actually in the main base of herO. And takes down 4 probes. Damn.
Yeah, neither player really gets significant damage done with that harass, but they both got a Nexus. They both got 29-ish probes. As you pointed out, though, I think the one core difference was Stats got that Robo up, whereas herO was only getting it back up. So playing a little bit on the back end in that regard, but the Warp Prism, I think, is buying him some time. Again, Stats never actually pushed out to go for a kill move, so this game evens up a lot more than I thought it would, but herO's army supply is still heavily lacking.
Yeah, herO once again going for the Desperation DT Shrine that we saw in game number 1. You know, that attack looked so promising this game. I thought he was about to break Stats, but Stats with those clutch force fields that separated off some of the units and kind of slowed the attack down. His repowering of his
cool.
Robo
to
get
really
the
cool.
Immortal out, really big.
Not sure if you caught that in the main. Hallucinated Warp Prism baited out and overcharged out of herO.
Oh, nice. Did he spot the DT Shrine? Yes, he spotted the DT Shrine with the Warp Prism as well. Oh, wow. Okay, Desperation DTs look even more desperate now. Going to be a Colossus Bay, or sorry, Disruptor Den going down for herO. So he's going to try and go for Disruptors, the big comeback unit.
So what's interesting, though, is like to do this paired up without Blink. Like he's going for Resonating Glaives, if that's the case. I mean, for those who don't know, Disruptors became such a big part of the matchup because really, one Disruptor can change everything. Even if you're behind by 7 Disruptors, one good Disruptor hits all it takes to win a game sometimes. It's so volatile, it's so scary. I think it's part of why players love it and part of why players hate it. I'm not sure if he'll get time to get there, though. We already have double Immortal drops coming in. This is going to do some very serious damage.
Oh, yeah. This is so hard to deal with the ranged pickup on this. They 2-shot probes.
Barrier
They take down
well.
Stalkers so quickly as well.
I just realized I never really thought of it like this before now, but Immortals basically have 2 shields, right? Like you got the barrier, then you've got your shields, and then you've got your health. Like, so hard to actually get real damage done to them. Looks like the DTs were pretty much swatted down, by the way, so no real issues for Stats.
So you're sure that the 10-second reduction on the barrier has that's gone through?
I'm not sure if it's 10 seconds. It's down to 38 now. I'm not sure what the actual original number was.
But they were also going to reduce
32.
the amount of damage it blocks as well, right?
I did not hear anything about that. It's because what they did was they made it so you can no longer micro it. You can't. There's no more. It's forced autocast. So down to 32-second cooldown. Yeah. So that change has gone through.
Okay, cool. I remember seeing them, talking about it. I didn't realize it had actually gone through yet, so that's cool. I need to go double check those patch notes.
They snuck
get
it
the
in
specific
with
changes on it.
Yeah, with the Hydra range change, they snuck it in with that same one.
All right, these Immortals coming in.
And they're going out.
Yeah, Overcharge is pretty good. Stats is way up in supply right now. He's got his own Blink finished. He's got +1 finished. There are 2 Disruptors out here for herO, but look at the support for them. He has like 5, 6, 7 Adepts and a single Immortal. It's all about the Disruptor shots.
Stats has his own Blink, though. See, as you can see, he closes the distance and gets on top of them pretty quickly, focuses them both down. Neither shot gets to detonate, and that was all of his eggs in that basket. herO now in a lot of trouble. The Warp Prism actually bringing the Immortals right to the front line directly. Not a problem over here, and it looks like Stats is closing out this game. Oh boy. Oh boy.
That's that moment where Stats is probably a little bit heated, a little bit annoyed. He's like trying to cheese me constantly, man. Come on. Who do you think dies to that proxy Robo 3 gate? Not me. I'm Stats. Manages to hold on after 3 crazy games where it was basically the first 7 minutes of action was all focused around Stats base, just trying to defend crazy Oracle, Adept, Warp Prism attacks. But he hangs on in the end, wins 2-1, and he will be going through to play Lucera in that deciding match.
Yeah, PvZ to finish off the group. Is that a rematch?
No.
No, it would have been herO Lucera would be the rematch. Okay, so